Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating report from an AI-powered English program at NSTI Hyderabad. We're going to look at exactly how they make the case that their training works by connecting every bit of effort to a real, measurable result. So let's just start with the big question, right? It's the one everyone in education or training has to ask. How do you actually prove a program works? I mean, beyond just good feelings or a few nice quotes, how do you show with cold, hard data that it's effective? Well, the answer this report gives is actually super simple, but really powerful. You prove it works by connecting the dots. You draw a straight line from the effort a student puts in to the outcome they get. Measurable effort, measurable outcome. That's the big idea here. All right, so let's just cut straight to the chase. Section 1. Effort equals results. So what's the big secret? Honestly, it's not a secret at all. The number one finding, the big headline from this whole thing is this: the more work a student put in, the better their English scores got. Simple as that. More effort, better results. Okay, so you're probably wondering, where do they even get this data? Well, that takes us right into our next section, the Hyderabad BootCamp. Let's set the scene a little bit. All right, so here's the setup. We've got 92 students at the National Skill Training Institute in Hyderabad. They went through this really intense 15-day English bootcamp. The tool they used? An AI platform called Fluent Edge. And the goal was super straightforward. Just measure how much their English improved. No fluff, just the numbers. Okay, so if you're going to prove something like this, you have to be measuring the right stuff, right? Which brings us to our third section, measuring what matters. This slide breaks it all down perfectly. It really all comes down to two key ideas. For learning effort, they used something called XP points. And for learning outcome, they measured what they call a BET score jump. Now, let's unpack what those two things actually are. First up, XP points. What in the world are those? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like points in a video game, or maybe the points you rack up on your fitness tracker. It's a number that shows exactly how much work you've put in. Students earned them by doing all sorts of things on the AI platform, playing learning games, tackling exercises that adapted to their skill level, and joining in on conversation practice. The more you practiced, the more XP you got. Super simple. And on the other side of the equation, the outcome, that was all measured with the Bharat English test, or BET for short. What's cool is that this is a homegrown test built specifically for the skills needed in India. So when we talk about the score jump, we're literally just talking about the difference between their score on day 1 and their score after the 15-day boot camp. It's a pure, clean measure of how much they improved. Okay, so we've got our two key players, XP for effort and the BET score jump for the result. Now for the exciting part. Let's dive into the proof in the data. So check this out. The report did something pretty smart. It split the students into groups, or bands, based on how much XP they earned. And the pattern, wow, it just jumps right out at you. The group that put in the least effort, less than 20,000 XP, they still improved by an average of 1.59 points, which is great. But look what happens next. The middle group, they jumped up by 1.63. And the top group, the real high flyers with over 40,000 XP, they saw an average jump of 1.82. You can't argue with that trend. It's right there. And if that table didn't make it clear enough, this chart just spells it out. You can literally see the steps going up. Low effort on the left, high effort on the right, and the bar just gets taller and taller. It's such a clean visual of that effort to outcome connection we've been talking about. I really want to zoom in on this number for a second, plus 1.82. I mean, that's the big one. That's not just some random number. It's the payoff. It's the concrete reward for the students who really went all in and put in the most work. It shows their dedication paid off, big time. But they didn't just stop there. They looked at the data another way, just to be sure. They basically drew a line at 40,000 XP and compared everybody above that line to everybody below it. And the difference? The high effort group had what the report calls a net learning lift of over 0.2 points. It's just another way of saying that, yep, putting in that extra effort gave them a real measurable edge. You know, it's easy to get lost in averages, but we've got to remember this is about real students. The report actually lists some of the top performers. I mean, look at these names. Yadida Vijaya Rama Pavan and Keshpaga Sai Tharun, they both improved their score by a full 4 points. That's huge. And Chintala Ramya Krishna and Nikhil Krishna, a 3.5-point jump. These aren't just statistics. These are individual people who absolutely crushed it. Okay, the data's pretty convincing, right? But let's take a step back for a second. Let's ask the so what question. Beyond this one boot camp, why does any of this actually matter? That's what we're getting into in our final section. The report connects these dots to some really big ideas. First, there's the Bharat First employability piece. By using a test made for India, they're measuring skills that actually matter for getting a job here. Then there's the idea of discipline through gamification. The whole XP system basically proved that if you make learning feel a bit like a game, you can build real discipline in students. And finally, the whole thing is transparent. You can track everything. This fits right into that bigger Make in India goal of having clear, auditable systems. So, when you boil it all down, what this report really offers is a kind of roadmap, a way to make learning totally transparent and prove that it's working. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. If learning can be measured and proven this clearly on this kind of micro level, what could that mean for skilling a whole nation? What's possible next? That's a powerful thought to end on.